Welcome to this explainer. Most of us only really experience cyber threats as these quick, stressful headlines. A data breach here, a ransomware attack there, maybe a vague warning about critical infrastructure. But behind all those headlines, there's this constant, completely invisible, and highly complex combat happening every single day between nations. So today, we're going beyond the headlines. We're going to dive into the hidden front lines of modern national security. And we're being guided by the incredible insights of Rachel Noble. She's the former Director General of the Australian Signals Directorate, which is essentially Australia's equivalent to the NSA, where she spent nearly 5 years navigating everything from global intelligence to offensive cyber operations. We are going to unpack exactly what the modern cyber threat landscape looks like right now and why you, yes, you, actually play a much bigger role in it than you might think. Let's get into it.
It's super easy to think of global conflicts strictly in traditional terms, right? Troops, tanks, physical borders. But when we look at the sheer volume of attacks hitting our digital infrastructure right now, we really have to ask, are we already at war in the cyber domain? I mean, while the physical world might not look like World War III just yet, the digital domain is telling a completely different story. The stakes of these modern digital threats are just massive because they're targeting the very systems that keep our modern societies functioning.
To really grasp the severity of this, just listen to how Rachel Noble describes her time leading the Australian Signals Directorate. She says, and I quote, "We were literally in hand-to-hand combat on a day-to-day basis with a range of state-based actors. Hand-to-hand combat. This isn't some theoretical, futuristic threat we're talking about. This is a relentless, exhausting, totally unseen daily conflict happening in real time against highly capable foreign nations."
Okay, so let's break down exactly who is on the other side of the screen. We basically have two main adversaries, and they operate in very, very different ways. On one side, you have your cybercriminals. Their motivation, pure profit. And the barriers to entry are just shockingly low. You can literally hop on the dark web right now and get a 3-day free trial of ransomware software. They even give you a 24/7 help desk to help you pull off your crime. It's kind of comical until you realize the absolute devastation they cause. Now, on the other side, we have state-based actors. These are foreign governments. They are incredibly well-resourced, deeply patient, and highly strategic. Unlike the criminals who just want a quick payout, state actors want to infiltrate a network and just lie low. They want zero detection so they can conduct long-term espionage.
But here's where things get really terrifying. The lines between those two groups are rapidly blurring. During the Russia-Ukraine conflict, intelligence agencies actually stopped counting when they hit 400 different criminal syndicates attacking each other in cyberspace. Some were politically motivated, some were working directly for the states. And even wilder, intelligence shows that some foreign government officials, who happen to be heavily underpaid, are taking their elite state-level hacking skills and running criminal side hustles on the weekends. So that clear boundary between state espionage and rogue criminal enterprise, yeah, it's completely collapsing.
And this blurring leads right into a really frightening new trend, the complete loss of plausible deniability. It used to be that state actors tried really hard to hide their tracks. Today, they want you to know they're there. For example, when Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, intelligence points to the Chinese government deliberately broadcasting anti-US messages onto the TV screens inside Taiwanese 7-Elevens and train stations, just to unnerve the civilian population. Similarly, an Iranian group known as Hamala openly threatened US water systems without even trying to hide who they were. These are incredibly brazen psychological operations, and they're specifically aimed at eroding our confidence in our own safety.
Now, to pull off these deep infiltrations, highly sophisticated actors are using a terrifyingly stealthy technique called living off the land. So instead of using custom malware that would instantly trip an antivirus alarm, they just hijack the normal, everyday, built-in tools of a computer system. They blend right into regular network traffic. To the system, they look exactly like a normal user logging in. It's like a burglar hiding in your house by doing your dishes. Unless network defenders have an absolutely immaculate understanding of what their typical traffic looks like minute by minute, these attackers can burrow deep into telecommunications networks completely undetected.
And we absolutely cannot separate this digital aggression from the physical world. The source material highlights how these stealthy cyber operations are increasingly paired with real-world physical intimidation. For instance, Australia recently had to deal with Chinese warships conducting unannounced live-fire exercises right outside their territorial waters. And in another incident, Chinese jets dangerously released engine-damaging chaff directly into the path of a Royal Australian aircraft. The invisible digital war is perfectly mirrored by this very visible, very dangerous physical posturing.
So you might be wondering, what is the ultimate goal of all these stealthy network breaches? It all comes down to one word: pre-positioning.
These state actors aren't just poking around to spy. They're actively burrowing deep into critical infrastructure. We're talking our water, our energy, our telecommunications grids. Their goal is to establish hidden access, maintain it, and just sit there. They're patiently waiting so they have the power to literally flip the switch and paralyze society during a future conflict. It is a deeply existential threat. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. In response to this, governments are building some incredible new defense strategies. In Australia, for example, they've pioneered an amazing intelligence sharing platform to build a massive nationwide digital shield. Here's how it works. Step 1. They take the most classified, top-secret threat intel from the Five Eyes Alliance and strip it all the way down into declassified ones and zeros, just raw threat data. Step 2. They share this anonymized data instantly with private sector partners like massive telecommunications giants and major banks. Step 3. These private companies then set their systems to auto-block those incoming threats at absolute machine speed. This kind of partnership is absolutely crucial because of the stark contrast in how these two sectors actually operate. Governments, just by their nature, move slowly, right? They're careful, they're highly collaborative, and they are heavily risk-averse. But the tech world doesn't wait. The private sector operates at breakneck speeds with massive cloud computing capabilities. To win this fight, governments are finally realizing they cannot move at a bureaucratic pace. They have to rely on the private sector to act as the literal first line of defense. We actually saw a perfect historical example of this private sector shield right at the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. While governments were still sitting around deliberating on how to respond, private tech companies jumped in immediately. When Russia threatened Ukraine's social services network, which was a psychological move meant to make Ukrainian citizens feel like their government couldn't even process basic payments, Microsoft stepped in. They rapidly moved Ukraine's critical social data straight to the cloud, completely shielding it from destruction and protecting public morale. We literally saw a private corporation acting on the geopolitical front lines.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is all happening at a super high level between massive governments and tech giants. But the truth is, this threat is actually sitting right in your living room. Recent intelligence advisories have revealed a massive shift in state tradecraft. Instead of using specialized, easily identifiable hacking infrastructure, foreign adversaries are now surfing off the back of everyday home computers and internet-connected smart devices. They're actually routing their attacks through your home Wi-Fi to anonymize their movements and completely hide their tracks.
Because they are actively using our personal networks against us, every single individual is now a vital part of national defense. Rachel Noble calls this the eating your greens of cybersecurity. Yeah, it's boring, but it absolutely works. Number 1, use multi-factor authentication everywhere. Number 2, create really strong, complex passphrases. Number 3, patch and update your systems the absolute minute an update is available. I know these sound like standard, run-of-the-mill IT tips, but they are exactly what pushes highly sophisticated nation-state hackers off our networks.
It really challenges every single one of us to completely rethink our personal digital footprint. Seriously, ask yourself, do you really need your fridge connected to the internet? Does that actually add value to your life, or does it just create another vulnerable access point for a foreign state actor to hijack? Securing your own home network is no longer just about protecting your credit card from some random cybercriminal. It is a direct, meaningful act of national defense. As we look ahead to the future, the speed of this invisible combat is only going to increase, and that is driven largely by artificial intelligence. AI is making both the defenders and the attackers infinitely faster and way more capable. It is an arms race like literally nothing we've ever seen before. And that leaves us with a really critical, provocative question to ponder. As AI rapidly accelerates this cyber arms race, who is going to build the guardrails for this next frontier? Is it going to be governments, private tech giants, or will the rules of this invisible war simply be written by whoever strikes first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.